Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink, it is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Patch 3.19 introduced 15 divination cards, some of which have been big hits, and many of which are things that people haven't yet worked out where they drop. What I want to do is go through the ones that people probably care the most about and tell you where they drop, and how certain the community is on these so far. This has mostly been researched by a lot of the people who are behind POE They've set up a Discord which tracks a lot of divination cards. It's not my baby to invite you to, but if you go to POE and look up any of the divination cards that are currently unsolved, at the time I'm recording this, they do have invite links to that Discord if you're interested in being a part of it. So firstly, we have Broken Truce, which is a really useful one in solo self-found, especially because it's target farmable. This drops from Jorgin. So Jorgin is one of the Betrayal NPCs, and every time you interact with him, there's a chance of getting Broken Truce. It's neither common nor particularly rare, so you're just going to want to get Jorgin into a spot where you're going to be interacting with him a lot, and you're going to want to fight him as much as possible. Doronia's Epiphany is next. Now this one is something that players have not yet been able to absolutely confirm a drop location for. However, people widely suspect that it comes from heists, and specifically from contracts that have gem rewards inside as reward room chests. So heist contracts that require counter thaumaturgy, for example, will often have gem chests in them, and there's a lot of suspicion that Doronia's Epiphany drops there. This is not proven, and this is not something that I can say with any certainty it's where it drops. It's just where it's suspected. Personally, I had 2 copies of these drop, but they were from a ritual, and rituals can give you any divination card in the game, so you can't tell very much from that. Endless Night, we have no leads on at the moment. The Enforcer, also no leads. Choking Guilt is interesting. I was expecting this to be one of the last ones to get found and possibly the rarest divination card in the game. Instead, it was solved on day 1 or 2 of the league. It drops from the Infinite Hunger, the Eldritch mini-boss, so not the Eater of Worlds, but the Eater of Worlds' baby brother. It drops from that thing. It's a really rare drop, as you would expect for an item as rare as Stranglegasp, but it's actually surprisingly more common than I was expecting. This has smashed the price of Stranglegasp this league, and it's far cheaper than it's ever been before. The Shieldbearer was also solved really quickly, but this is not something that is a zone drop. A lot of us expected a zone drop here because the Doctor is a zone drop, and also the Apothecary is a zone drop. However, this comes from Uber Elder. This does not need to be the monster level 85 Uber Duber Elder version of the encounter. It can drop from the monster level 84 standard Uber Elder encounter, the one that was added in patch 3.2. But if you can do the harder version of the encounter, there's a couple of extra rewards there, because that can drop Uber in presence as well. The Shepherd's Sandals is next. This drops in the same locations as the divination card Loyalty, which is a bunch of dog-themed zones. However, it is really, really rare, far rarer than people might expect, and as a result, don't expect to self-compile a set of this. Azure Rage hasn't been reported as yet, and that's probably because it's a bit of a meme card. People probably don't have it on their loot filter and aren't paying that much attention to it. The Leviathan is also not currently known. Gemcutter's Mercy drops in the Delve Mines. This is Enlighten, Empower, and Enhance, and this drops from the reward nodes that have gems as their reward type. So it'll be one of the chests that you get there. That's where this drops. This is one that people are very certain of. Next is Astral Projection. There's a fair bit of evidence of this dropping from Moon Temple, but it's not considered closed yet because it could also drop somewhere else, and that hasn't been confirmed as yet. The Price of Devotion was confirmed today, and that was a catalyst for me putting this video together. The Price of Devotion is a very, 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 very rare drop from Uber Atziri. This is in the Alluring Abyss. There is currently no evidence of it dropping from Uber Atziri in the Feared encounter, although I cannot rule that out. This card is very, very rare, and it does seem like the majority of the ones that exist in trade have come out of stack decks or other sources of universal divination cards, so things like ritual altars. Checkmate is believed to drop in Museum, but I'm not considering this confirmed as yet. This card is much rarer than you would expect from the value of the reward, where each individual copy of Checkmate is only about as valuable as 9.5 Simulacrum Splinters, but the card is much rarer than you might expect. Lithium Temptation, I don't know anything about where this drops. Something Dark is next, and this drops from Breach Lords in their domains, but it does not drop from the unupgraded Esh, Tull, and Zoth Breach Stones. It's only a valid drop if the item level is 75 or above, and that requires it to be at least a single upgraded Esh's Stone, or Tull's Stone, or Zoth's Stone, but it does seem that it can drop in a non-upgraded Ulnatol Stone or a non-upgraded Chayula Stone, and certainly can drop in all of the pure Breach Stones as well. As for Flawless Breach Stones with their rather unusual loot table, this is not something I'm going to consider confirmed as yet either way. There's no reports of it dropping there, but who knows, maybe it can. Anyways, that is all of the divination cards that were added and what we know about them so far. May your Varlobs have interesting results.